So there's this old joke about a man named Moshe. Moshe was known around the village for talking to himself, constantly, out loud, everywhere. And one day the rabbi sees Moshe pacing the marketplace. He's mumbling under his breath, and the rabbi asks, "Hey Moshe, why do you talk to yourself so much?" And Moshe stops and he shrugs and says, "Well, I like to have intelligent conversations, and I prefer talking to somebody who actually listens."
I'm Stephen Belenke, a coach to leaders, a facilitator to executive teams. And this is Spare Me, a short, sharp dive into the heart of human dynamics for anyone who's ever asked themselves, what's actually steering the ship here? And by ship, I mean you, your habits, your reactions, and your choices when the water beneath you gets choppy. I'll try to cut through the noise, poke at some blind spots, and maybe even make you laugh along the way. Because leading teams and companies is serious business. It doesn't have to feel that way. So buckle up, 10 minutes or less, and I'll leave you thinking, why didn't anyone say it like that before? At the very least, I'll spare you the fluff, because you've got real work to do.
But the more I think about that anecdote, and I've been thinking about it a lot lately, the more I realize that for many leaders, talking to yourself is actually necessary. We can be our most disciplined listener when we really need it. Because unlike most others who, let's face it, really struggle to listen to us, to understand us and where we're coming from, we have a vested interest in listening to ourselves to understand ourselves. Not to debate or discredit or to one-up ourselves, but to actually understand ourselves. I mean, how rare is that we have someone listening to us without judgment or a hidden agenda? That's why I think talking and listening to yourself in the moments where it's critical that we have control over our mental and emotional state is invaluable. And in the process of exploring this subject, I've found that there are fewer tools than talking to yourself that we have in our toolbox that are more effective at helping us self-assess and self-regulate in the moments that really count for us and our people and our business. So what's the big deal with leaders and our emotional and mental states? Well, as a leader, your emotional and mental state influences the room. Whether it's a negotiation or a tough conversation with a teammate, people pick up on your energy, even the stuff you try to hide. I mean, if you walk into a conversation frustrated or anxious or unfocused, that's going to leak through your words and actions, whether you intend for it to or not. Now, talking to yourself, that gives you a chance to slow down, to check in with yourself, and redirect your mindset before it's too late. It's like a mental pit stop. It's a way to hit pause, take stock of how you're being, and course correct if needed. I say without this check-in, we all risk reacting instead of responding thoughtfully. And let's face it, reactions aren't always aligned with the leader we want to be. I'll say that again. Actions aren't always aligned with the leader we want to be. Now, I'm sure someone who's listening to this, a more serious leader, is thinking, this is crazy. And to that person, I say, it's not crazy to talk to yourself. It's only crazy if you don't answer back, because who else is going to give you good advice at 7 a.m.? So I often get asked, what am I actually saying to myself when I'm talking to myself? Well, when I talk to myself, I'm not giving myself empty affirmations like, you've got this. Although, hey, if that helps, go for it. But if you're up to big things, however, the conversation you probably need with yourself could be more intentional and structured. Some questions my clients commonly run through. Number one, what's my goal for this interaction? I think this question helps ground you in purpose. Are you here to persuade? Are you here to listen? Are you here to find common ground? When the conversation gets tough, knowing your why keeps you centered. Another great question, what's my emotional state right now? Are you calm, anxious, irritated? Because identifying your emotions without judgment is a crucial first step in managing them. How about, what assumptions am I bringing into this conversation? Are you expecting the other person to resist? Are you assuming things will go badly? Because catching your assumptions early prevents them from unconsciously shaping your behavior. How about, how do I want to show up in this meeting? This isn't about outcomes per se, it's about how you want to behave regardless of what happens. Do you want to show up as calm or collaborative? How about firm? Visualizing this helps you anchor your presence, even if the situation gets difficult. This self-conversation is like a mental warm-up. You wouldn't want to go into a big game cold, so why would you want to walk into a high-stakes conversation without prepping your mindset? And talking to yourself is like sending a memo to your brain. Sometimes you need to hear it out loud to take it seriously. So none of this really matters if you can't get comfortable with talking to yourself. I was asked recently, how do you do this without feeling awkward or silly? It's easier than you think, and it's personal. There's no right way, but I'll give you a few strategies that you can try. One, use a mirror or a journal. Some people find that speaking out loud into a mirror or writing things down in a journal helps solidify their thoughts. Seeing yourself or reading your own words gives you clarity. Another strategy, take a walk and talk it out. This is a typical move for me. If sitting in front of a mirror feels strange, try talking to yourself on a walk. Movement helps unlock your thoughts, and being physically active while reflecting can calm your nerves. Here's another good one. Breathe first, speak second. Before you start, take a couple of deep breaths. It sounds basic, but breathing signals to your brain that you're safe, which helps regulate your emotions. And 4, keep it private. Keep it honest. This isn't about saying what you should feel. It's about being honest with yourself. If you're angry, say it. If you're nervous, admit it. Acknowledging your emotions is the first step in managing them. Here's another good one. Rehearse key phrases. If you know certain parts of the conversation are going to be challenging, practice saying them out loud. It's not about scripting every word, but rehearsing key phrases can give you confidence, and it reduces the chances of freezing up in the moment. When you talk to yourself before a big conversation, it's like giving your emotions a little bit of a pep talk. Like, okay, anxiety, you sit this one out. This is a job for confidence. You know, let's just say emotional and mental regulation isn't your thing right now. Let's just say you're one of the rare ones that has these things down. Emphasis on rare, because you would be unique. But talking to yourself isn't just about mental and emotional regulation. It's about showing up with intention. When you take the time to ask yourself, where am I right now? What do I need to adjust? How do I want to show up? You're not leaving your leadership up to chance. You're leading yourself first, which is the foundation for leading others well. Here's the kicker. Most people don't do this. They rush into meetings and conversations. They rush into negotiations without taking even 5 minutes to check in with themselves. That's how small misunderstandings escalate, how opportunities get missed, and how leaders burn out. By making self-conversations a habit, you're giving yourself the best chance to respond thoughtfully, not just react. It's not complicated, but it's incredibly powerful. And the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Some of the best meetings I've ever had were with myself, and I never had to fight over the coffee order. Sometimes before a tough meeting, you just need to say, we've got this, okay? Some of us do need that affirmation. And by we, I mean me, myself, and I. But if next time you're about to step into a critical conversation and you think you need more than an affirmation, try pausing for a second and asking yourself, what's my goal here? What am I feeling here? What assumptions am I carrying into this critical conversation? And how do I want to show up here? Actually, my favorite question is, what could they say that could throw me off my game? And how would I address it? 5 minutes of self-talk could be the difference between a tense standoff and a breakthrough moment. Okay, that's enough of that.